Hey, what is up everybody? I want to take you around a little bit today, show you kind of what I got going on with the garden, some of the things I have planted, and I just realized I got to go pick up my trash can off of the road. Hey, what is up everybody? How are you doing? Thanks for checking out this video. Any support for the channel is awesome. So like I said, I want to go ahead and kind of take you around a little bit, show you some of the beds that I have going. Not everything is doing really well, but some things are. So yeah, I'll just kind of show you. I went through with my fruit, the trees and the bushes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go through with the vegetables, a little bit of fruit, but the raised garden bed. So let's take a look. It's gonna be behind the camera. So let's go. Okay, so this is going to be my front area. Let's go ahead and kind of give you a little walk around on it. Okay, so I have this bed right here. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see. Got some there. They're all popping up. They are all sprouted. These are melons. I got tiger melon, cantaloupe, and a watermelon planted here. I got the tiger, cantaloupe, and the watermelon on the far side. This is a pretty good sized bed. This is I think about 16 feet by 3 feet on this. Actually, I put a 3-foot weed barrier in here. Oop. Sorry about that. Yeah, I put a 3-foot wide weed barrier, weed fabric, and it fit perfect. So 3 foot by 16 foot. That's going to be all melons. That's part of the fruit. And right over here, where are we at? Right there is basil. I grew basil in the front yard on the porch last year. And instead of pulling anything, I just shook the seeds into it. And I think they all got burned from the sun, but I got a lot of sprouts of basil in there, but yeah, nothing. So this pot right here, I got nothing but weeds. So we'll move around, get a little better shot here. This you're probably not going to see too well, but this is going to be my corn. This is 10 foot by 5 foot, 4 foot, maybe 10 by 4 area for corn. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 rows of corn spaced out about 10 inches apart to a foot apart, give or take. I have not been able to do corn yet, but this one's looking pretty good. It is spotty. I have not been able to do corn yet. There are spots that did not sprout, but we're just going to have to see how it all comes together. So right next to that one, I have my dead raised bed. So this is all destroyed. The wood is all destroyed. It's rotted. I pulled all the, well, most, as you can see, of the dirt out of it to fill up the one that is over here and where my melons are. So I was able to put a lot of that to use. So I'm going to have to rip that all apart, get all the dirt out of there. I got places I can put it, get all the weeds and grass out of there, rebuild it, refill it, and I'm going to start over next year on this one. So obviously I have nothing planted there, but next year. So this one right there are some flowers that came with the house and they are still kicking. I got another one. Where is it? Up right there. So these are cool. I think it's a lilac or something like that, but I don't know if these are gonna sprout because I started pulling them and realized, oops, I shouldn't have pulled them, and I replanted them all. So we will see. This one is not doing near as good as this one over here. These are about to pop out bulbs. It's a bulb, so maybe lilac or something of that sort. So those two small ones. Right here I have, let me zoom back out. This is my lettuce and cabbage. Basically, I got some cabbages going down the middle. I got a row of lettuce and a row of lettuce. I got green, basically a romaine lettuce, and this is basically a red leaf lettuce. So I've got this going all the way down. And I probably have about 40 heads of lettuce. I got some bok choy in the middle here, these 2 rows. I have green kale and then 2 head cabbage, as well as way back here, boom, 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 I have a purple kale. That's supposed to be tender, it's supposed to be edible. I don't know, I've had cooked kale that isn't that bad. It's kind of like a spinach. Raw kale doesn't do a lot for me, but just for the nutrition and stuff like that, I wanted to have some of the kale and some of the dark greens with cabbages and stuff like that, which I don't do a whole lot of either. But that's my lettuce and a little bit of cabbage. And we'll move on down to the other side. Here I have a monster, boom, oregano bush and a monster thyme bush. Now the thyme has flowered, it hasn't seeded yet, but it's pretty early. Thyme is actually an evergreen. Both of these are perennials, and I was able to get fresh herbs all year round. Just in the thick of the winter when it was single digits and below 0, there was oregano growing underneath right here and thyme growing underneath right here, protected with the weed barrier. So yeah, year-round herbs right there, that's a good thing. Now I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. There is a tall bush right there and a smaller one right here. Right there, if you'll be able to see it, and a taller one there. Cilantro. I also have one planted in the hole right there, which is dead. The 2 that are living are volunteers, so I didn't plant those. I did plant sage right there and some dill. I think it's right there. I'm looking on the back of the camera, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I did plant some dill, and actually one on the inside, it's going to be right at the tip of my fingernail, is a rosemary. It's pretty small. I'm growing everything from seed this year. I have not bought anything plant-wise. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, I bought some of the blueberries and stuff like that. I didn't do from seed, but as far as vegetables go, absolutely everything from seed except for the couple volunteers and perennials over here that just did not need replanted or anything like that. So as far as my herbs right now, this is going to be my herb garden, and yeah, I've got dill, sage, cilantro, need to get some parsley planted, thyme, and oregano for here. So those are kind of the important ones. Definitely parsley is one to get thrown in there, but do not really have it planted for this year. So yeah, I'm going to be parsley-less. So here I got my spinach. This is about 6 foot by 4 foot bed. I did plant it in rows. I just seem to have a little bit better luck with rows than I do just randomly sprinkling seeds around. I did that last year with not much luck. I went back to rows, and as you can see, it's nice and healthy. Now, next year, I think I'm going to do the rows a little bit closer together and get more spinach in here. It grows pretty good close to other spinach plants. So yeah, I should be able to cram this for next year. I'm also going to be doing another fall planting for the spinach. I'm going to start, I think, mid-July, around that area, to get these going. It does really well in the cold weather, so definitely going to have a fall garden for that. So here is the other part. This is going to be the spinach back here, and there's a divider going across it. So this one's going to be about a 12 foot by 6 foot roughly. This is going to be strawberries. We have the center of this whole part open. I have one plant about right there, but for the most part this is all open. And what I want to do is have the runners go on in and fill the center in. Now if we have a problem with it filling in the center, we can cut some of the runners, I believe, and replant them, or we can get some other strawberry seeds started. I would like to get a couple different varieties in the heirloom world growing. I didn't have a lot of luck. I planted a lot of strawberries. I transplanted a few of them, and none of them really got past the 3 millimeter height mark. So they're not going to get planted. They are completely stunted. So this is what we got for the strawberries, but we got 24 plants right here. That is going to fill in quite a bit. So we should have some good strawberries. We already got good sized strawberries growing on it right now. Being that this is all open in the middle, it's a pain in the butt to weed. So we don't have a weed barrier down because we want the roots of the runners to get established and grow. And that happens pretty quick. So, yep, weeding, lots of weeding, as well as the lettuce over here. As you can see, there's lots of weeds. I'm trying to keep the canopy of the leaves of all these plants weed free. I'm not worrying too much outside of that unless I got some extra time, and then I'll go in and clear some out. That's going to be the same thing with the strawberries here. So here I got garlic. I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 minus 1, I believe. So I think I have 15 garlic bulbs growing here. I just cut the scapes off of this and I cooked with them last night. Very good, very delicious. Just kind of a mild garlicky shallot flavor on the scapes, but pretty good. That's the first time I've been able to use them, eat them, cook with them and all that. So pretty happy about that. So this, we went with a hardneck purple garlic. I forget the exact name of it, but there's hundreds and hundreds of varieties out there, but this is the first time out of 3 years that I've been successful with it. I planted these from the clove itself. We got 4 bulbs and got all the big cloves from the bulbs, planted those because those are going to produce bigger bulbs in the long run after you plant it and grow it out. So wanted to do that. The tips are starting to kind of yellow a little bit. It's starting to kind of come time. I think we have about another month or so before we can harvest it. So I think mid-June, and we're kind of at the end of May. So I'm going to do a little more research in that to find out, but I'm going to be going off of when all the leaves tilt and fall over. That's the main indicator that your garlic is ready and ready to be harvested. So looking forward to that. This is a big one for me. I use a lot of garlic. I buy a lot of garlic, and I'm kind of tired of it. I want to have my own garlic. So yeah, garlic. Cabbage moth. Okay, so that is it for the front garden. That was the original garden that came with the house. We didn't build any of that. It was already in place. But this area, I have, what is it, 1700 square foot, I believe. This is the back garden. So this is kind of everything that I have going on. Up here and around, that is the last one. I have my greenhouse still in the plastic over there that I need to really do something with, but let's go ahead and go by planter and show you what I got. I'll make this quick. Don't want to bore you guys too much, but I do want to definitely show you what I got going on. So this one, I'm going to make it quick. Nothing. Got nothing in here. I just have weed barrier sitting on top with a piece of wood on top of that, and that's going to keep it from growing so many weeds. This is probably going to be cauliflower or broccoli, as well as maybe a couple other, or another bed or so that's going to be cauliflower and broccoli. Might do the bags as well, but right now this one is empty. So here in this bed, this is all carrots. I had a pretty successful sprout with this. It took about 5 or 6 days, covered up in the dark, keeping moist, and I was successful with that. But here I've got about 100 or so sprouts in there. I'm gonna have to thin them out. I know it's gonna be kind of hard to see from this distance, but there are in fact a lot of carrots growing in there, and I'm pretty happy about that. I've grown carrots in the past, not with the best of success, so hopefully this year will be a little bit better. Now this one right here is going to be artichokes. I have one row. I planted 2 kinds. One is a Colorado Red Star and the other one's a Green Globe. The Colorado Red Star is going to be back on this side and the Green Globe is on this side. So the Colorados, they sprouted. They are doing okay. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 artichokes on the far side and nothing for the front ones yet. So those Green Globes haven't come up. I did sow to ground. I sowed the seeds in here. I did not grow them indoors, but at least I'm going to have 4 artichoke plants, and I will amend that later with some other plants, maybe next year. I believe they're perennials. And I can also, once I find out the room and where I'm going to be able to put stuff, I can put some companion planting in there as well. But as of right now, not much. So this is going to be another one. This bed right here doesn't have a whole lot either, and I'm getting the boring stuff over with. These are eggplants. I have had no luck in 2 weeks. It's 10 to 20 day sprout time. I'm at about roughly 12 to 14 days right now, and yeah, nothing. So this one might end up becoming brassicas or something like that. Grow some collard greens in here. Not sure, but if nothing ever comes up from this, you know, so be it. Yes, it's kind of dry right now. Yes, I've kind of given up on the idea, but we also have 4 or 5 days of rain coming, so, you know, yeah, we'll see. All right, so here we go. I do have a couple mystery plants. I got one there and one there. Now, I started these right away, and well, I didn't label them correctly. I figured they were all toast, they were all dead. I was not happy with anything about growing these guys indoors. So just for a last little Hail Mary, I decided to put a couple in a solo cup, and boom, they took off. So there's been a lot of learning. I'll get into that with another video on some of the things that I've come across since I've been doing this. But these are looking pretty good. I do have a feeling I can move it on around. So I don't have these two labeled. Then I have a candy roaster and a candy roaster. I think they're Georgia Candy Roaster Squash. Looking forward to it. So this one here, I do have one that's grown pretty well. Move it out of the way a little bit. I think it's going to be a candy roaster. It's definitely yellow and with orange stripes on it. It's supposed to have a green tip, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that a candy roaster? I've never grown them before, so I do not know, but looking pretty good so far. And over here, you are probably not going to be able to see it if you can see the flower down in there. I got a zucchini popping up as well, so pretty quick on that. Hopefully the squash is going to be nice and fruitful this year, but I do not know. They're looking pretty good so far. Starting to kind of want to trellis on the back ones, but that's what I got for squash. Okay, this is the last one in the row. I've covered a few of them on this row. These are going to be my onions. Now, I said before that I did not buy any plants, but I did buy onion bulbs. I bought some onion bulbs and some starter potatoes because it's just really easy to do it that way. And it was just kind of a, screw it, let's go ahead and do it. So I've got basically a whole bag, well, it's about a half a bag of onion starts. These are just basic, like a Spanish yellow. I don't even remember the exact name to it, but I've got this filled up completely, so hopefully we'll get some onions this year. And off to the next row. All right, it's gonna get a little bit awkward with the angle on these, but here, let's see. Zooming in a little bit. There we go, how about that? Looking good, keeping you guys here? Okay, so I do wanna show you, I'll show you on a different one. The next one, it's a good example, but this I've got a lot of stuff. I got my China bean. I got my beans, they're the tall ones that are popping up. This is it's like a 24-inch bean. Trellis really nicely. Put out tons of veggies, fruit, if you will. And they've been really good for me. They're good with volunteers as well. So I'm gonna grow them again. It puts out a whole lot of food for plant in between them. So that's one there and one right there. In between here, I've got marigold, celery, and that goes for both sides over on this area as well. In the middle, the big bushy ones, I got turnips growing. This is a purple turnip. We're trying to kind of go lower carb, so we're looking for ideas and inspiration to substitute potatoes. Even though we got potatoes growing, while we can, we're going to try to eat a little bit lower carb. So we're going to try to substitute turnips and stuff like that. So there we go. That's that. I got marigolds, I got celery, I got purple celery, I got Chinese long beans, and I got turnips growing in this one. A little tight, should work. So the next one here in line is a cucumber. Run for the cucumber. Yes, I can't not say it like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yeah, cucumbers. I got 4 plants of cucumbers. I also have celery planted in here as well. This one, I decided, well, the squash and the onions, I put straw on. So it seems to be working pretty well. I wanted to do it a little bit as an experiment just to see if I need to do wood chips or what kind of mulch I should use. So far, the straw is working pretty dang good. It gets caught up in a lot of the plants that grow, but I also thought we have really high wind here. I thought it would all blow out. We've gotten a couple good wind storms, and lo and behold, basically none of it even moved. Now, actually on the other side over here on the black, I had a brick of hay that I did not lay down in the beds yet. And it was kind of messy here. The wind took that completely away. I don't know where it went, and it cleaned off all the straw that was on the weed barrier except for a couple little tiny spots. But everything in the bed, perfectly fine. Quite amazed with that. So again, I was mentioning the labeling. Let me go ahead and get down lower and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing as far as labels go. Okay, so as far as the labels, on the outside of this bed over here, I planted a row of sage. So I just got blue painter's tape right here, sage, cucumber, cucumber. Now the top row is going to be the far side and the bottom row down here is going to be the close one. So I know exactly what I planted and where I planted it. So again, got 2 more cucumbers right there on the top. I got some celery. I just have 1 cucumber here and nothing over there. And if you look up, it's not going to be right, but there is nothing there. So that's kind of what I did as far as the labeling goes. I didn't use much of the little tabs in the marker or the grease pen. I did use a grease pen on painter's tape. Hopefully that'll last. But I'm really curious. The reason I thought of this is when I was transplanting, like upgrading the transplant, I was labeling the solo cups. I've been using solo cups. So let's go ahead and look at something different. Yes, I was using solo cups. So I would label the solo cups with the painter's tape, and then whenever I went and planted them out here into the garden, I just peeled off the tape that I already used, already wrote on, and just transferred it over to the raised bed. I did that on the wooden beds up in the front garden with the watermelons and stuff like that. So I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm not a big fan of the tabs, the little sign that you put up. I know a lot of people get kind of decorative and all Martha Stewarted out on making cool little signs. Personally, me, don't care. I want to eat. That's the only thing I'm concerned about here. I just want food at all costs. Big old clover growing out of a crack. So yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Here we go. Got a couple peppers. I'm running them dry. According to my labeling down here that you're not going to be able to see, I got a red bell, orange bell, and I got the same thing on the other side. Yep. Over here, red bell, orange bell. In between, I had a few extra peppers, so just kind of sprinkled throughout this area. I got peppers. I've also got basil planted in rows here, here, and over there. Well, 3 spots I got rows of basil. And this is all mostly peppers. So seems like you can only see 2. There's a couple peppers that are kind of struggling, but I also have some marigolds planted. I got some Boris, what is it called? Borage, snapdragons. I got flowers planted all through here. This one I got 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers, 5. I have some cilantro. I have some basil. Got all kinds of stuff going on in this one, so move on down. Okay, this one. These are the Crystal X tubs. You get them for free. We ended up spending about $15 a piece on these, or not, like $5 or $15 for all of them or something. We got them pretty cheap. You can pick these up free in some cases, but this one I got black turtle beans. This is a bush bean. Got 4 of them going around. Hopefully it's not too close to where it's going to be an issue, but yeah, these things put out an insane amount of beans. So looking forward to that. Here's another one. I have just a green jade bean. This is just going to be kind of a typical green bean. I planted 4 here. 1 did not come up, and 1 is getting chewed a little bit, I see. A little bit of damage to like the one over here on the left. There's a little burning going on or something, I'm not sure. I have watered it a couple times in the daytime, I know, which you're not supposed to do, but it was really needed. The next time I had to do it, I just did a very low water pressure and just kind of hit the root systems on a lot of these. So there we go. Got 2 beans, 2 bush beans, 1 jade green bean, and 1 black turtle bean. All right, over here for this one. This one's doing a little bit sad. I had a whole bunch of extra beets, and I just decided to go ahead and throw about 10 of these in here and see how they do. They're not doing too good, so we'll move on. Okay, so here we go. I got a red potato, got 4 of them going here. I've learned quite a bit about potato planting since I planted these. I got another one over here as well, so yeah, we should get a lot of potatoes, but I actually want to use one of these Crystal-X or something different and try this method that I saw an Asian guy, an old Asian guy. I don't know what country he was from, but he was able to grow an insane amount of potatoes in something that size. I'm talking hundreds of potatoes. And they say potatoes grow out like that, you know, like this. They don't root down like that. So they go out like that. So you can actually layer potatoes. So I might do one down at the bottom, one in the middle, and a couple planted from the top, and just see how that goes. And yeah, I don't know. So there we go. Red potato. That one right there is empty. I'll get to that though. A barren desert. This is my turmeric. I have this one here, the blue one right there, and the very far blue one. None of them have come up. It's going to be a little bit of a long shot. It's a hot weather, high moisture, tropical type of, it's in the Philippines and Indonesia and South Asia is where a lot of this stuff grows, India. But I want to give it a shot. This has been in the ground, planted about 4 inches deep for about 3 weeks now. So I don't know if these are going to come up, but it's worth a shot. I bought a couple little slips for turmeric and I wanted to see if it would grow. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right, so I got another tub here. I have no idea what this is. It's a squash, it's a cucumber, it's a plain. I don't know. I did not label it correctly, but it started growing. So I think it's going to be kind of part of the other ones. It might be one of the candy roasters. It might be a cucumber, might be a zucchini, might be a crookneck. I don't know. I planted a whole lot of them. This one, well, we'll see. We'll see when it fruits. It's had a couple flowers. It hasn't pollinated, so we'll see if anything comes from it. If so, hey, free food. I had the space. All right, so the next one, skipped over the turmeric. Got 3 of those. This is just a Yukon Gold. Got some Yukon Gold potatoes. Got 4 of them there. And this one over here, I just have a single. And I knew I was doing something wrong. And then I was talking with my girlfriend before, and she's like, oh, you didn't cut the eyes? And I'm like, oh, crap. And then I did not let the potato skin over. I cut it, put it in the ground, so we're going to see how this works. This is an untouched, unmolested potato, a pretty big one at that. So I'm expecting that one to grow, but as far as these slips go, they did not skin over. They were not cured correctly, so we will see. They are growing. Whether they produce the tubers that I'm liking, well, we'll see. A lot of experimenting this year. It's always experimenting. I mean, that's gardening, that's homesteading. Okay, so this one I have beets. These are Detroit red beets. I could have planted this a little bit thicker. Not all of them sprouted. Like we got a little section right over here that's pretty dry. Over here is kind of dry. Over here some bare spots. But all in all, I'm going to have quite a few beets. And I'm looking forward to that. I love fresh beets. So on the beets that I just showed you, I have no companion plants in here at all. This one I do. I have dill, basil, peas, Brussels sprouts, and I think that's it. So obviously the ones up on the trellis right over here, those are all the peas. I have Brussels sprouts just behind it. I don't know if you'll be able to see them on here or not, but they're about 1 inch, 2 inches tall. Kind of in between the peas, you know, like right there, just on the other side. So this whole front area, right up against the wall right here, I planted a whole bunch of dill. None of that has come up. I've planted some basil. I have some marigolds. I have borage. I have snapdragons. I have... that's about it for here. So that's going to be the peas and Brussels sprouts with some companion planting and maybe some extra herbs. All right, well, you know this time was coming. Got my tomatoes. These again are screw-ups. I don't know what it is, but they were all dying. It was part of my last ditch effort to save my first batch of sprouts and seeds, and it worked. So these ended up doing pretty good. They really exploded since I put them in here. They were about 2 inches tall when I planted them, and yeah, they're doing pretty good. Especially the two on the outside, this one here and this one over here are doing really good. These are the indeterminates, so they are going to be growing up and vining. I have a trellis system that is kind of, well, a little bit to be desired. It's just a like a 3/4 inch by 1 piece of trim board. And this one snapped. I wanted to go a little bit higher. And then I got strings, 3 strings going across, tightened up pretty good. Hopefully that'll work. That's my trellis system for these that I'm using. I also have basil, cilantro, marigolds, and that's it for this one. Okay, here I have my indeterminate or determinate short guys, bush tomatoes. So these are both, well, this group of 3, I should say, are called jelly bean cherry tomatoes. I also have some borage right there, basil, marigolds, lots of basil planted in different areas, just kind of spread throughout because I wanted them with the tomatoes. These two over here are San Marzanos. I think it's a little bit smaller tomato. It's a paste tomato. So I got some basil and marigolds over around that bend over there. So really curious about that. I like that tomato. I like it in a canned tomato. I'd like to try to grow it, so we'll see how that goes. But yep, there's my short tomatoes. All right, so this is kind of an interesting one with me. I have lots of dill planted all through this bed. I think I got a whole row of dill. I have a problem growing dill for some reason. I don't know why, but I just can't grow it very well. But got some marigolds. I think it's a borage or a snapdragon. A couple marigolds over in that corner. Got some basil. It's actually looking pretty good. I got some basil over here in this area. I might be thinking of something else, but I got a lot of basil, a lot of dill. And this is okra. The big plants are okras. So I'm not even a huge fan of okra, but again, going low carb, we got to figure out some way to thicken things. Flour is the main reason. Cornstarch is, I mean, the main way. Cornstarch is another way. And root vegetables are another way too. You can mash up potatoes and mix that with some broth and stuff like that, and you're going to get yourself a good creamy consistency, but it's all starch. Okra doesn't have as much carbohydrates, so yeah, I'm going to try it. So far, I mean, I got okra popping up. I don't know if it's just a flower, but it's the shape of okra. Again, I've never grown it before, so yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. They're looking pretty good. I never knew they had 3 different kinds of flowers. Interesting. All right, so here got more flowers, more borage, marigolds, stuff like that. These, I believe, are asparagus. It's another mislabeled one. I wasn't sure exactly what I was planting, but I thought they might have been artichokes. Artichoke, fennel, dill, asparagus. They all kind of look the same as a little guy. But if you'll be able to see it, maybe right there, it looks like asparagus coming up in the shape of asparagus. So that would be awesome if we can get some asparagus out of this, and lots of companion planting again. So yeah, hopefully they grow. They've been stunted a little bit. This was part of the first group as well. That's why I don't have it labeled correctly. But well, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Hopefully they don't get eaten. All right, so this is the next bed. Yes, these are cabbage. They might be a little bit close together, but this is kind of a large head cabbage. that kind of goes up into a point. I forget the exact name of it, but I planted a lot of them in here, and we'll just have to see how that goes. It's going to be to right there, actually. So those 6 are going to be heads of cabbage. And these, I just sprinkled these guys like randomly and ended up planting about 200 of them. And then I realized, crap, they're cabbage. They need like 2 feet per plant. So I thinned them out a whole lot and then realized, yeah, it was bok choy. Bok choy you can plant much closer. They're not going to get a whole lot bigger than like that plant. You know, they might double that size. I like eating it fairly young. So I could have doubled the capacity of bok choy in that area, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. This one I do not have any companion planting going on because I've just been trying to thin it. That has been the main concern, but definitely over here, if I have some more I want to plant, which I do, I have a lot more marigolds and I have borage, as well as some other like balloon flowers and stuff like that. But the main companion plants, dahlias, snapdragon, borage, I don't even know how to say it, and marigolds. But I've got another tray of those coming, so I got another 30 or something that might find a home in this bed right here. But there we go. That's all my cabbages. So far, it hasn't been bad as far as things eating them, but I do see a lot of the white moths, which I believe are cabbage caterpillar moths or cabbage moths. Not good, not good, not good at all. This has been kind of back and forth for me. I've got 2 rows of leeks, 1 row of yellow Vidalia style onion, a sweet onion, and then 2 rows of green onion over here. I planted them by seed. They sprouted about an inch tall and stopped. They started getting burned on the tops and stuff like that. Just not looking too good, and I basically blew it off. And just before I decided to go ahead and get some weed barrier and bring it in here, cover it up, and just preserve it for whenever I want to plant something else, like broccoli or anything that's going to be cold weather, I realized, wow, they're 2 inches, 2.5 inches. So they are growing, but really, really slow. I really wish I'd have more progress with this, but for now I'm going to go ahead and keep it seeded. The leeks are looking, or keep it weeded rather. I'm going to keep the weed pressure down and keep on top of it and just see how this progresses. I may be able to get something out of it. Any of it would be good. I have a lot of onions, but the leeks would be nice and green onions would be nice as well. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. Nothing else planted in here, no companion planting of any sort. And last but not least, we got peppers. So here, again, it's a little dark. You're not going to be able to see it. So from right to left, I got jalapenos, 2 jalapeno plants, 2 more jalapeno plants. I have basil right there. I have 2 habanero plants right there. 2 poblano plants right here that are nice and healthy. Then I have 2 Scorpion Apocalypse habaneros, or scorpion peppers. Apocalyptic scorpion peppers. Always good to have. Good for pepper spray. Number of reasons to have hot peppers. So this is the rest of my peppers, as well as the 2 bell peppers, or 4 bell peppers, 2 red, 2 orange. Hopefully they produce, because I don't have a whole lot of them. And I really hate paying $1.50 for a pepper at the grocery store. So, all right, so there you go. Here I have 17 raised beds. 3, 6, 9, 12 container planting. And I also have a little area set aside to where if I want to plant anything in the ground that's about 10 by 20 foot. Can I show you right over here? So if I do want to go in the ground with anything, I can do that. So I have my 7 raised beds up front. I believe it's 7. One of them getting deconstructed, and down here is growing. So yeah, so that's what I have going on in my garden here at Bluefoot Homestead, showing you what I'm planting. There's still some things that I wish I would have planted that I didn't, but I'm just going for a better success rate right now. Last year was a complete flop. I put everything in the ground here in rows. I wanted to do row gardening, pardon me, and the grass and weeds just completely overtook it in about 2 weeks. The seeds didn't even have enough time to sprout. I lost everything. I think I got a tomato plant, a basil plant, and a bean plant that died pretty quick. So I just want to be able to produce. That's all I'm worried about. I'm not worried about looks. I'm not worried about politically correctness. I'm not worried about only organic. I'm not worried about any of that. I want to successfully grow some vegetables. I want to successfully keep my household alive if we're not able to get food. So that is my only goal. There's a lot of expansion here. I can put stuff in between these rows, in between the garden beds. I can constantly keep adding to it. And I also have all this room back here. A little bit of it's going to be a greenhouse, but it's about 40% of this whole area is still open. So I can add on, I can expand, I can grow more food, and more food. So yeah, that's what I got going on. What do you guys think? Companion planting okay? You know, what are you guys doing for your gardens? I highly suggest it. I talk about it all the time. If you can grow food, grow food. If you only have a patio, make the patio work, figure it out. You know, I don't know everybody's situation. If you have some ground and dirt at your house, if you have a house, use it. Use a little bit of it, even if you can't use it all, even if it's, you know, you're probably going to get in some fights with your spouse, or I don't know, but use it. Container gardening is a good way to not tear up the ground necessarily if somebody in your house is not wanting to do it. Getting some containers, I mean, it really doesn't matter what you use. You could use a bag. You could grow in a grocery bag, you know. Wrap some duct tape around it for a little extra stability because it ain't gonna last very long, especially Walmart bags, but you can do this. I was gonna grow, I had a paper bag that was about this big with a couple handles on it, a little carrying thing from a mall. And it was reasonably thick. I was gonna fill that with some soil and wrap some duct tape around it or any sort of tape just for extra stability and grow in that just to show you guys, but unfortunately it got thrown away. So maybe I'll do that as an experiment. I love experimenting. I love doing different things and trying to figure out how all of this works on my own. A little bit of YouTube. But yeah, you can grow into anything. So anyway, with that said, if you can grow, grow. If you can't, well, stock up. And just wanted to show you guys my garden. What do you guys think? It's been a lot of work. So thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And until next time, as always, peace.